Warlock has been and is still currently one of the most broken supports in the game. Let me show you why by using one of my students as example. Over the past 33 games playing as Warlock on the support role, this player has managed to achieve a close to 80% win rate on the hero with an average of 7 KDA ratio. He also has an 80% win rate playing as supports in the past 20 matches. These stats are very impressive considering this player only has 700 games of Dota played in his lifetime. So how did he do it? In this video, you'll learn just exactly what I taught him during our coaching sessions for him to be able to achieve this result. If you also want to get coached by me and climb like these students, check out my coaching website in the description box below. With that said, let's get into today's video. First, let's start with Warlock's laning phase. For your starting items, you should have a magic stick, 2 sentries, 1 observer, 1 blink grenade, 1 tango and 1 clarity or mangoes. You can also start with a sage mask to rush into a ring of basilius afterwards in the lane. Traditionally, Warlock is better played as the position 5 support in the safe lane due to his babysitting abilities and importance of pulling. But nowadays, you can also play him on position 4 due to his ability to trade and lane strong with Failbond and Shadow Word. Failbond is an extremely broken skill in lane that helps with zoning out multiple enemies at once, allowing your carry to free farm and providing you the ability to harass the enemy freely. During the laning phase, it is important for you to ensure that your cam is unblocked and their cam is blocked. If the lane pushes to them frequently because of Failbonds, then deny your sentry to pull their big cam instead. Warlock relies heavily on pulling cams whenever possible because he lacks kill abilities like stuns or disables in lane, therefore making him more of a babysitting support. So a big part of his laning is excelling in slow harass onto the enemies with Failbond, while shadow wording your carry to keep them alive and spam pulling the cams. This will normally help you secure kills if the enemies decide to trade and overextend near the wave. Make sure to only cast Failbond when you initiate a trade onto the enemy when they are near the wave to maximize its effects. The best times are when your core is beside you getting ready to trade against them as well. As the lane progresses, you will need to upgrade your magic stick into magic wand from the extra branches in your inventory and upgrade your boots into arcane boots. Getting arcane boots as early as possible is extremely important as it lets you spam Failbonds and Shadow Word to play lanes and push waves repeatedly. After the laning phase, your job is mainly geared towards keeping empty lanes pushed out while providing space for your cores to safely farm the jungle camps. Of course, if your cores are near the lanes, then they will have high priority to take the lanes. But anytime they decide to leave the lanes and start retreating further and further away from the lanes, you would now identify these lanes as open or empty lanes for you to take over and keep them pushed out. Warlock's Shadow Word now does AoE damage around the target, so using a Failbond with Shadow Word will easily push out waves quickly without putting yourself in danger. Whenever your ultimate is available, try to group with the strongest core in your team. That would normally be the offlaner or the mid laner, and prepare for potential fights. On the other hand, if your ultimate is on cooldown, try to maximize your time by prioritizing wave pushing and hitting your Aghanim Scepter timing. Warlock is a special support that is able to farm Ancients easily with Failbonds, Shadow Word and Upheaval. Doing this will allow you to snowball your farm easily into an early Aghanim Scepter and provide insane value in fights once you drop your golems. For Warlock's skill build, these are the 2 most popular builds on Dota 2 Pro Tracker. Generally, I would suggest Failbond at level 1 for more pressure and zoning ability, but you can also consider Shadow Word if you or your core requires much healing in a heavy harass lane to survive the lane starting at level 1. For the facet, Black Grimoire is very valuable as it gives you potential to hit very high levels each game to scale faster and better into games. Being able to hit your level 20 early and getting your Aghanim Scepter together boosts your damage output and crowd control ability by a lot in fights. For Warlock's item build, the first core item, Arcane Boots, is a necessity to allow you to spam spells to push waves and not be out of mana constantly. The second core item is usually a utility item such as a Glimmer Cape, Force Staff or Solar Crest. If you are playing in the MMR brackets of below 5k, I would strongly suggest building Glimmer Cape as the second core item. It pairs very well with the playstyle that suits lower MMR games, where empty lanes are available all the time. Constant pressure can be created simply by spamming Failbonds and Shadow Word while glimmering yourself near the lanes for survivability. If you execute these steps properly, you should be looking at an early Aghanim Scepter by the 25 to 30 minute area where your cores are mostly coming online. The 2 Golems ultimate is one of the strongest spell in Dota, and dropping it with Failbonds combined in fights will almost always ensure your team wins the fights. If you find yourself getting caught often and being unable to drop the Golem, then you can consider an Aeon Disc to guarantee that you can use your ultimate in fights before dying. So when it comes to fights, Warlock needs to ensure that his Failbond and Golem is dropped every fight. you would enter fights with Failborn, Golem, and immediately find a safe spot to start upheaval while being glimmered. If you manage to do this and survive the fight, there is an extremely high chance that your team will win the fights due to Failborn's damage output and his Golem chasing everyone down while they are being slowed. Now, Warlock's positioning is very important in everything you do. Whether you're standing in lane, pushing waves, or taking fights, his positioning is everything to maximize his efficacy in games. Let's start with lane positioning. In the lane, Warlock needs to always stand close to the lane, mostly near the wave and beside his core. He will trade this wave with Failborns and Shell Word while abusing aggro cooldown to harass the opponents. If you don't know how to abuse aggro cooldown to win trades in lane, check out my Crypt Aggro Fundamentals video on my channel. It should explain everything you need to know about the mechanic. To summarize Crypt Aggro abuse, you basically start your right click on the enemy hero while being outside 500 attack range of enemy creeps. Land about 2 hits, then run out of 500 attack range, and do it again after that as the aggro cooldown ends after 3 seconds. When trading in lane, try not to put yourself out of position in such a way that you get run down by both enemies in the lane. This mostly happens when you overextend to trade too far from your partner and wave in lane. Next, for pushing waves positioning, all Warlock needs to do is walk up to waves and cast Failborn and Shell Word, then hide behind the wave while being in XP range. If the location is too dangerous, such as near the enemy's tower or when enemy heroes are missing, then you will need to glimmer yourself and hide behind the wave. Sometimes you will not be able to soak the wave's XP due to risk of death. You can also use upheaval to push waves if your Failborn or Shell Word are cooling down. Make sure to use the spell in a hidden location since it requires you to channel the spell and be vulnerable for a long period of time. Now onto the most important part, fights positioning. During fights, Warlock needs to not get caught the moment fights break out. You need to ensure that you are able to cast Failborn and Golem before you start getting targeted by enemies. To do this, always stand behind your team within respectable distance. A range of approximately 800 units behind your team would be perfect to not be seen in fights before they break out. As long as you survive fights, you'll always be able to contribute with spells and return to pressuring lanes again after fights. Lastly, we'll look at the closing of games. Normally in this part of the game, you should already be looking to have your Aghanim Scepter and be calling for your teammates to group up to take Roshan. The ideal time to push and close out games is to have your core get the Aegis, push into a lane and drop your golems with Failborn. To summarize, Warlock excels in providing a good laning phase for your core, pushing out waves and lanes quickly, scaling fast with upheaval on jungle stacks, and dishing out insane damage in fights with Failborns and golems. If you're able to take in the information from this video and can correctly apply it to your games, I'm sure you'll be able to climb really fast with this hero. That's all for this video, thank you for watching and I'll see you again in the next one.